places be places where people can pray together. Can you talk a bit?
What you have said there, and whoever had written that before, that is brilliant. America has a huge role to play, and I suppose maybe then I should go into this other part of it just to explain, is that from the time I was a child, right up to today, I see a particular angel. And as a child I had asked about them, and I was told to call them the American Gathering Angels, because no other country in the world has a gathering angel. And the only way I can explain about the American Gathering Angels, they are, again, I know I will say very beautiful. They all give a male appearance, and they all seem to be dressed in an armour that covers them. And, you know, they just have shoulder-length hair, just giving you a little description, and all have a band. They look exactly the same, you know, each and every one of them, but you see such love and compassion from them. And each and every one of you that is here has been gathered. Just think about that. Every American that is here, God at one stage, no matter how you got here, whether it was through good or bad, or centuries ago, had the angels gather you and bring you here. And he already had the American Indian here as well, because you all are the beginning of the new race. And I don't think that is really hitches at all. You, in a sense, are not acknowledging it enough. And you should be gathering together more and praying together, because, you know, America has such an enormous role to play, and I have to smile. God hasn't had a gathering angel with me, you know, and I'm Irish, you know, and so I smile at that. But, you know, America is the gateway to humanity, to the future. You have such a responsibility, and I hate putting it on your shoulders, but you have a huge responsibility. And you may be looking in at America yourself, and maybe when you do look outside America, you think that, you know, outside don't like you, you know, but the outside of the world is constantly looking into America. We're constantly expecting the peace to come from America, the ideas, the solutions to the problems. And you may think that your country is, you know, losing power, you know, with the rest of the world. I can assure you it's not. You know, God doesn't gather people of all religions, all faiths, from all over the world and bring you to one place. That has been done for a very big reason. You are the new race, you are the future, and I wish you would play a bigger part. Stand up and recount it. When something is being done wrong, you have to speak out. Take responsibility. And I know you can do that. And I know that's why God keeps sending me back to America, to keep on giving the messages, and has me speaking with all religious beliefs, to try and get you to start to pray together.
You mentioned in the beginning of our conversation that you saw a difference in America today from when you were here 10 months ago. And does that have to do with that praying, or what is that?
Yes, I was here 10 months ago, and the only way I can explain it, I see a complete difference in the people of America. Your attitude, your openness, literally everything. And I see that you are actually seeing, the only way I can describe it is that light of hope, you know, in that way. And that light is really shining bright here in America. I wish it would shine a bit brighter in the rest of the world. But I know God wants it to really shine bright here. And I know, you know, there's just so much I could say. I know you're probably saying, but you know, financially we're in trouble, but you have to remember, you know, material things you can't bring with you when you die. you know, but we all need material things. But I know America is coming back up. Yous are starting to get out of it. So yous all have to work together, you know, and don't be separating your communities. Your communities are meant to become closer together. You know, and it all starts here. There's so much I could say that starts here, but really starts. Like I have met people who would say, we're already doing that. In the sense of, you know, Muslims can come and pray here, or Jews, or Catholics, or Protestants, but you find they're in a separate room. God doesn't mean in that way. It is really gathering together and praying together.
Thank you. You also write that the angels challenge America and warn that we may be squandering or abusing the power that we have. What are some of the obstacles that the angels might indicate that stand in the way of our being able to promote that prayer that brings peace?
Well, it's actually quite simple. How can I say it? It is actually money and power, wanting to keep power and control over each other. And I don't know whether you agree with Obama being your president. Do you? Probably some yeses and some noes, but I just tell you a short story. I'm not into politics, because to me the world is just one big country. But I remember the angels showing me, and I don't read, you have to remember, so I can't remember whether it was the paper or the TV, and they showed me Obama, but he wasn't even known then. So I don't know how I happened to see him. He must have had his picture in the paper or something. And they said he would be the next president of America. And could have been 9 months earlier or a year earlier. I don't know how far ahead it was. And then I remember when it was getting closer to your election, I was told to pay attention again. And I said, oh, you know, that way. So I paid attention, and they said he's to be elected. And looking at what was happening in America and where Obama was, I just said to God and to the angels, they're going to have to work some huge miracle, because he's way down the line. You know, how on earth are you going to get the American people to listen? And he did. He got you to listen. I don't know how he's managed to do it, but you did listen. And you voted him in. He's meant to be the president. And even though he mightn't be standing up to the count, is that what you call it, in that way, he does need your prayers. It's always very important to pray for whoever is your leader. And he was meant to get second term. And I remember saying, you know, you're going to have to work a miracle again, God, to get him in there, because I remember hearing just loads of negative things on the news, you know, people not agreeing with them, saying he's not doing enough. So you need to pray for him and ask that he, what way would I put it, at times makes the right decision, that he listens to God and his guardian angel, and not be so influenced by, you might call them the generals around him, you know, and takes that risk, takes that challenge, you know, to allow things to happen for America, and to allow America to get back the respect it needs from the rest of the world. I know it can solve loads of peace, everything will come from here. But it's going to come from you. You're part of it.
Thank you. This is a question that was given to me, and my guess is you've not been asked this one before either. So angels, get ready. So we have a problem with gun violence in this country. And so the question is, how guardian angels of murderers communicate with each other?
I know that it's a question I haven't been asked before, and it's something that I just say to God, listen, what can we do here? But you have to remember, even a person who's the worst person in the world, who, like I know you had all those children slaughtered, and that was horrific. And the young man who did that, you have to remember he has a soul and a guardian angel. And I know his guardian angel and the guardian angel of others that were around that young man during his life were doing everything possible to get that young man not to do that. But again, it's something that we don't understand very well. But I do know when those children died, their guardian angel of each child wrapped them in their wings and took them home to heaven. And I know they're there, but I know that's not comfort for any parent. But it couldn't be stopped. I wish God would stop things, but He has given us that free will. He's given us the gift of life, and we have all the choices to be good or bad. And that's why it's so important to help others, because I have met many young men of all ages, and it's always the same thing. They say, they have grown up, have had a bad life, or they're from somewhere where there's war, and they say revenge. And revenge is the other side. I'm afraid the other side does exist. They say it gets into their heart. And they say to me, Lorna, how can you kill revenge? We all have to kill revenge. And I know I always tell the story, especially of the young man I met, who, because of revenge of what happened to him, his family, being slaughtered, all of that he got revenge in his heart as a young man. And he said he went out and done the very same. And the incredible thing is, I hate saying this, but it was that somehow someone gave him the book Angels in My Hair. And this man is about 40 years of age now. And he said in reading the book Angels in My Hair, he realised that he had listened to the other side, that it was revenge in his heart. And he looked at he had only got married a couple of years, and he had looked at his own wife and young children and realised what he had done and how devastated he would feel if someone else had that revenge and came and slaughtered his wife and children. And that's one thing he says, how? He says, it is killed now in me, I would never, because I've suddenly woke up. But there is a lot of revenge out there. So it is not to listen to the other side and try and only listen to God, because your guardian angel never asks you to do anything wrong. If you want to have revenge on someone, or you want to be mean or selfish to them, even in the little ways, or greedy, you're actually listening to the other side.
I'm nearing the time that I have, but I do have one question. A Jesuit paleontologist and theologian by the name of Teilhard de Chardin, I haven't read his work yet, I hope to, but he talks about we are evolving in the direction of the Spirit. And I know that you write about that too in your last book, that we are evolving toward the Spirit, and that someday maybe everybody's going to be able to see angels physically just the way you do. Can you talk about that evolution a little bit?
Yes, I believe that is actually happening already, and it is the evolution of mankind, of the body and soul intertwining. I call it intertwining, the way you would have a rope and all the different strands. And it is the intertwining of our physical self, our body, the flesh and blood, and our soul, which is the spiritual part, which is God. And I wish we would all move that bit faster, because I know in the future, one of the futures that have been shown is where, a mother will say you know, when she's going out to do a bit of shopping, she won't actually really speak to her child that much. The child will just turn around and look at her and smile, because the mother will be actually talking to the child's guardian angel. You know, where all of us will see the guardian angels as physically as I see them, and as physically as you see each other. And to me, that is incredible. Children, very young children can see angels, but most of the time, eventually we say to them, you know, that's not real, don't be silly, you know, the world contaminates them. And in one sense, I understand why God didn't allow me to be able to read or write, because I haven't got contaminated. It's the only way I can put it in that way, by the world. And again, a lot of the elderly would have experience of an angel. And I've met many an elderly person that would whisper in my ear when I would be giving a blessing that, Lorna, I have seen an angel. But one of the things they always say is they daren't tell their daughter or their son or any member of the family in case they think they're going senile and put them in a hole. And another thing you must remember, lots of us become like children again when we are elderly. And that is God purifying you as well to bring you home to heaven. You become innocent.